In Alaska, there are several outdated laws that still remain on the books, despite their lack of relevance in modern society. One such law prohibits the tying of a dog to the roof of a car. This law was likely put in place to prevent animal cruelty, but it seems unnecessary in today's world where there are more humane ways to transport pets. Number 30. It is against the law to use a slingshot at a wedding. This quirky regulation might have been aimed at preventing disruptions or injuries during ceremonies, reflecting a unique concern for public gatherings. Number 29. A peculiar law prohibits building a sandcastle within city limits. This might have been intended to maintain cleanliness or public order, but today it seems to limit beachside fun and creativity. Number 28. It's illegal to carry an umbrella open indoors. While possibly rooted in superstition or safety concerns, this law now appears to be an odd restriction on personal behavior. Number 27. Another law states that bicycles must be equipped with tailpipes. This seemingly nonsensical requirement could have been an attempt to regulate noise or pollution, yet it's impractical for the nature of bicycles. Number 26. It is forbidden to play dominoes on Sunday. This law, perhaps a relic of times when certain activities were prohibited on religious grounds, now seems to unnecessarily limit leisure activities. Number 25. A law prohibits the use of X-ray devices to fit shoes. Originating from health concerns over radiation exposure, this regulation now serves as a reminder of past practices in retail and health standards. Number 24. It's illegal to paint polka dots on the American flag. While intended to protect the dignity of the flag, this specific prohibition highlights the broader theme of respecting national symbols. Number 23. It's illegal to let a moose enter a barbershop while it's being serviced. This peculiar law might have its roots in preventing chaos and maintaining public safety, yet it's hard to imagine a scenario today where a moose would wander into a barbershop. Number 22. Another law states that flamingos cannot be kept in bathtubs. While the origin of this law is unclear, it's an interesting reflection of the types of concerns that may have existed at one point in Alaska's history. Number 21. In Alaska, it is forbidden to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole. The practicality of this law is questionable today, considering the scarcity of giraffes in Alaska's urban and rural landscapes. Number 20. A law prohibits leaving a kangaroo in a public parking lot unattended. Similar to the giraffe law, this rule seems to address a highly unlikely situation, considering the native habitat of kangaroos. Number 19. It is illegal to use a catapult to hunt waterfowl in Alaska. This law, while perhaps relevant in a time when hunting methods were less regulated, seems out of place in the modern context. Number 18. Another outdated law prohibits the use of stilts while fishing. This unusual regulation might have been intended to prevent accidents or ensure fair fishing practices, but appears irrelevant today. Number 17. It's illegal to build a snowman taller than 6 feet on school property. This law might have been aimed at maintaining order and safety, but it restricts a harmless and enjoyable winter activity. Number 16. A law forbids the use of drones to deliver pizzas. This regulation might aim to control airspace and ensure safety, yet it limits the potential for modern delivery methods. Number 15. It is also illegal to play a trumpet to attract polar bears. While the intention behind this law is likely to prevent dangerous interactions with wildlife, it's a specific scenario that seems unlikely to occur frequently. Number 14. Another law states that you cannot use a chainsaw in the state capitol building. This law, while ensuring safety, highlights the specificity and sometimes humorous nature of outdated legislation. Number 13. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of waking a sleeping bear for a photo opportunity. While this law may have been intended to protect both humans and bears, it seems unnecessary in a time when most people have smartphones with cameras and can take photos from a safe distance. Number 12. Additionally, it is illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they are moose hunting in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to prevent distractions while hunting, but it seems outdated in a time when most hunters use electronic devices to communicate with each other. Number 11. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of feeding alcoholic beverages to a moose. While this law may have been intended to prevent harm to wildlife, it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the dangers of alcohol consumption for animals. Number 10. It is also illegal to push a live moose out of a moving airplane in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to prevent harm to wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people would not even consider such an act. Number 9. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of tying a dog to a tree in a public park. This law may have been intended to prevent animal cruelty, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the importance of proper pet care. Number 8. It is also illegal to shoot a bear from an airplane in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to prevent harm to wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most hunters use more traditional methods of hunting. Number 7. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of giving a moose a beer. This law may have been intended to prevent harm to wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the dangers of alcohol consumption for animals. Number 6. It is also illegal to wake a sleeping bear for the purpose of taking a photograph in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to protect both humans and bears, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the dangers of approaching wild animals. Number 5. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of shooting a bear while it is in a state of hibernation. This law may have been intended to prevent harm to wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most hunters would not even consider such an act. Number 4. It is also illegal to disturb a nesting bird in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to protect wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the importance of preserving natural habitats. Number 3. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of using a slingshot to hunt birds. This law may have been intended to prevent harm to wildlife, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most hunters use more traditional methods of hunting. Number 2. It is also illegal to disturb a beehive in Alaska. This law may have been put in place to prevent harm to both humans and bees, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people are aware of the dangers of approaching a beehive. Number 1. Another outdated law in Alaska is the prohibition of using a lasso to catch a fish. This law may have been intended to prevent harm to fish populations, but it seems unnecessary in a time when most people use more modern methods of fishing. In conclusion, Alaska has several outdated laws that may have been put in place to protect wildlife or prevent harm to animals, but they seem unnecessary in today's world. As society evolves and becomes more aware of the importance of conservation and animal welfare, these laws may need to be reevaluated and updated to reflect modern values and practices.